Fellowship. We are the only church in the United States of America. Actually, we're the only one on the planet that starts its services with the Doobie Brothers. What can I say? What can I say? Oh, somebody lost a bill out of their pocket. It was kind of crumpled up a little bit, found in the parking lot. So, well, that's why I'm not telling you what it is. So if someone has lost one, this may be yours, so just check. I assume it probably came out of somebody's pocket as they were taking keys out or doing whatever. This editorial commentary was in the paper a week or so ago. And I liked it so much, I'm going to read excerpts from it. I'm going to skip a lot of stuff that we don't need to talk about. But the point was, this is why 2017 was the best year in history. And the author is Nicholas Kristof. He's a writer for the New York Times. We all know that the world is going to hell. Given the rising risk of nuclear war with North Korea, the paralysis in Congress, warfare in Yemen and Syria, atrocities, and you would think this would be the worst year ever. Actually, you would be wrong. In fact, 2017 was probably the very best year in the history of humanity. A smaller share of the world's people were hungry, impoverished, or illiterate than at any time before. A smaller proportion of children died than ever before. The proportion disfigured by leprosy, blinded, or by diseases like trachoma, I'm not sure what that is, or suffering from other ailments also fell. Every day, the number of people around the world living in extreme poverty, less than $2 a day, goes down by 217,000 people. According to calculations by Max Roser of the Oxford University, our world, every day 325,000 more people gain access to electricity, and 300,000 more gain access to clean drinking water. As recently as 1960, a majority of humans had always been illiterate and lived in extreme poverty. Now fewer than 15% are illiterate, and fewer than 10% live in extreme poverty. In another 15 years, illiteracy and extreme poverty will be mostly gone. I wonder about that prediction, but it's there. So, after thousands of generations, they are pretty much disappearing on our watch. Just since 1990, the lives of more than 100 million children have been saved by vaccinations, diarrhea treatments, breastfeeding promotion, and other simple steps. I'm paraphrasing here, so I'm going through some of these things. In that way, and they're talking about the nostalgia that grips some people right now about living back in the 50s. It was so great. Maybe not. The 50s, the U.S. also had segregation, polio, bans on interracial marriage, gay sex, and birth control. Most of the world lived under dictatorships. 2/3 of parents had a child die before age of 5. I'm reading a book from our country back in the 1600s. And it was way more than that. It was unbelievable how many children actually never made it to adulthood. And it was a time of nuclear standoffs, pea soup, smog, frequent wars, stifling limits on women, and the worst famine in histories. What moment in history would you prefer to live in? F. Scott Fitzgerald said the test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two contradictory thoughts at the same time. Suggests that the world is registering important progress, but it also faces mortal threats, mortal threats. The first belief should empower us to act on the second. And it goes on from there. If you want, you can read the whole article or just some more excerpts. The point was, keeping it in perspective, pretty doggone good times right now. But obviously we still have to be diligent. And that's what t-shirts and sweatshirts are all about. These are good ones. So, arguing with a woman is like reading the software license agreement. In the end, you have to ignore everything and just click, I agree. I plan on living forever. So far, so good. It's Friday. Beer is coming. Dang, it's hot up here. Is it hot, hon? Yeah. Gee. Lazy is such an ugly word. I prefer the term selective participation. So, there. And we do have a couple patron saints by the name of George Carlin and John Lennon. And John said, my role in society, or any artist or poet's role, is to try and express what we all feel, not to tell the people how to feel. Not as a preacher, not as a leader, but as a reflection of us all. So there you go. And George, I used to be Irish Catholic. Now I'm an American. You know, you grow. It's George. What can you say? What can you say? So, hey Shannon, don't we? I mean, we've been doing YouTube for quite some time. What do we have? Like 300 or 400 services on that now? Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Spooky. Tootsie Rolls were introduced in 1896 by Leo Hirschfield. He named them after his daughter, whose name was Tootsie. Stop. Okay. Long after it became a great city, London was a haven for thugs and criminals. Charles I became alarmed over the situation and in 1640 ordered a sweeping extension of police powers. His new watchmen were the butt of many an underworld joke. From the king's name, rogues called an officer Charlie's man, or simply Charlie. Once established in slang, the title proved to be had surprising vitality. It attached to all constables and local police and was in wide use among American lawbreakers by the 19th century, since it was customary for Charlie to make his beat on foot. Flat feet and aching legs were common occupational maladies of peace officers. Rise of big-time baseball produced a crop of athletes who suffered from similar ailments, and players who developed a muscular cramp, which were especially likely to strike the legs, was compared with a watchman and said to be wary from riding Charlie's horse. From that, the usage, it was a short step to call the stiff muscle a Charlie horse. The Cincinnati Commercial Gazette announced in 1889 that a certain Mac had developed a Charlie horse, which ended his ball playing the previous season. Interesting, huh? How things in our language get started. All right. Things that make you go, When the fight begins within himself, a man's worth something. Or woman. Socially incorrect. What can I say? It's always been and always will be the same in the world. The horse does the work and the coachman gets tipped. And Mark Twain said, biographies are but the clothes and buttons of the man. The biography of the man himself cannot be written. Did we have anything else to talk about? You know, like the show in April or anything? Or are we talking about anything else? Okay. Good. It's up to you. Okay. Things about being over 50. You get into heated arguments about pension plans. You no longer think of speed limits as a challenge. You quit trying to hold your stomach in no matter who walks into the room. You sing along with elevator music. Your eyes won't get much worse. Your investment in health insurance is finally beginning to pay off. Yeah, sure, why not? Why not? Mike's okay.
A couple of things I want to bring to your attention. We're starting a new mini ministry for the communion, so that one team would do a particular Sunday for 6 months. So you could pick the first Sunday of the month, and every first Sunday of the month you would be the one doing communion. We're finding it a little challenging getting, not that we don't have volunteers, but it gets to be mixed up, and sometimes we don't have their phone numbers and people don't get reminded. So it would be easier for us to manage if we would have teams to pick a Sunday. So if you find an interest, or if you have done communion before, would you please consider taking a Sunday? One Sunday a month, first, second, third, fourth, and the optional fifth. Know that we would have backup for you. We've already got the backup people ready to go. But if you could pick one of those Sundays, that would be really awesome. And if you would let me know, that would be fantastic. So we kind of need to get that settled in the next couple of weeks. However many you need. You know, one person can do it. It's not that hard. It's just a matter of putting a little juice in the cups and putting a little crackers in the plate and then cleaning it up afterwards and making sure things are sorted out. We'll train anybody that's interested. So it's not hard, but it's definitely needed, and it is a service. Phil and I have really understood over the years the power of being of service, that you get so much more than you give. So if you're interested in offering a service, you know, sometimes the basket goes by and you can't do anything about that, but your time is very valuable and much appreciated. So consider that if you would. If you'd like to take a look at what's expected, we'll pass this around here. I'll pass that back. Thank you, sir. The other thing is I want to draw your attention to the calendar. Lots of stuff going on. I do have a couple of workshops that I don't normally do. Excuse me. The one this coming Saturday is called Rewriting Your Soul Contract. Sometimes we get locked into patterns, and okay, so we came to learn that. Let's learn that and move on. So if you're interested in that, check on your calendar. That's from 1 to 4. And then the other one has to do with DreamQuest graduates. So if you're a DreamQuest graduate, you can check with me about that particular workshop. There's still other workshops. This week we've got Applied Intuition. Valerie and Beth have been putting that on. It's really cool because we all have different ways in which we receive information, vibrations, instructions, information. And what works for me may not work for you. And you may have a different style or different methodology. Beth was telling me a story of they had someone come in and they did one process and one person couldn't get anything. The same person, they tried a different process and he got all kinds of information. And that kind of intuitive information is stuff that you have access to that will guide you in your life right now. You know, it'll help you with everything that you do when you're tapped in and tuned in. You know, everybody's all rushing around trying to get the new iPhone. You need a new high phone, something to get you higher and get your vibration tuned in so you can get these messages, because they're really powerful, not just for you, but for your world, but especially for you. Because if we're not listening and tuning in, then we're missing out. So you really might want to think about that. That's Applied Intuition on Wednesday. The following week is a vision workshop with Mary Ann. I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. You might want to take this vision workshop. Even if you know how to do, I know what I want to do, but I don't know how to get there. This vision workshop is going to be really important for that. So take a look at your calendar. There's other stuff going on. I'm just giving you highlights. Okay? So if you have any questions, either check with the presenter or we'll point you in the right direction. Yes, ma'am? Oh, the camera. We have another mini ministry utilizing the camera, helping the church with the camera. Shannon was out because her mother was very ill. I hope she's doing better. Good. But anyway, so we were cameraless that Sunday. So it's really important for us to have backup people. She has a few backup people, but we need more. So if you're interested in running the camera or helping out with that, that would be wonderful. So wonderful. Okay. Awesome. So if you're interested, let us know about that. And one last little thing, just remember that there are other people here. We tend to get a little chitter-chattery. And I had somebody come to me this morning and say, the last couple of Sundays it's been hard to hear because there's so much talking going on. So if you'd whisper or limit that, that would be really wonderful.
Cool. Thank you. You know, it's amazing. You know, Jan and I started the church, of course, over 20 years ago. Hard to believe. And I still have my business, which, by the way, open enrollment is coming to the end for the Affordable Care Act, so for health insurance, I can help you with that. And Medicare and all that kind of stuff. Jan retired, 2 years ago? Kind of, sort of, yeah, and does most of her work all now with the church, so that's cool. But who'd have thought that the church would be where it was now after 20 years? Hard to believe. So, football finally makes sense. A guy took his blonde girlfriend, yes, this is a blonde joke, to her first football game. They had great seats right behind the team's bench. After the game, he asked her how she liked the experience. "Oh, I really liked it," she replied, "especially the tight pants and all the big muscles. But I just couldn't understand why they were killing each other over 25 cents. Dumbfounded, her date asked, "Well, what do you mean?" Well, they flipped a coin, one team got it, and then for the rest of the game, all they kept screaming was, "Get the quarterback, get the quarterback, get the quarterback." I'm like, hello, it's only 25 cents. And so it goes. We're going to, again today, we're going to just do a song from the, from YouTube. So it does have words. The what? I did. Nobody's claimed it yet. Well, if nobody claims it, that's...
So you had a bad day. Okay. Will not work unless you go backwards. I don't know. What did you say, Phil?
He programmed it that way.
Lynn said that you got it trained, so we'll respond to that. Okay, so last Sunday, I chatted with you about Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. There's a time for this and a time for that. Because we were talking about giving ourselves time to process. And how we can be going through a process of one aspect of our life where there's grief and sorrow, and something else we're taking on something new and wonderful. And sometimes we don't give ourselves the opportunity to really experience either thing. You know, we kind of get an autopilot and just keep trudging along. So we don't grieve. You know, things get backed up. We don't grieve about stuff. We don't process it out. We don't grieve it, process it, and release it. It's just stuck. Energy gets stuck. What happens when energy gets stuck in our body? Pain. Pain. So then we take medicine and then we got to do other things to try to mitigate the pain, when really it's really more important for us, it's extremely important to add to the mix of processing things out. So as I read, I'm going to read this again because I just love this. This is really fun stuff. I know some of you think the Bible's fun. I don't know. Da-da-da-da. Had a bad day. And where's Ecclesiastes? Have you gone missing on me again? You know, it just... I had my paper stuck in it. There it is. And then took my paper out. There it is. So, before we do this, let me do one little thing really quick. Right after this, there's this wonderful 2-verse insight. It is just the coolest thing. I want to share this with you. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 11 and 12. He, meaning divine source, has made everything appropriate in its time. That's what we're talking about. Everything appropriate in its time. He also set eternity in their heart, meaning eternity is set in our hearts. We have a perception that there is more to us than just this that we're experiencing right now. Yet, so that man will not find out the work which God has done from the beginning even to the end. So we got a concept of it, but we can't, we don't get it. We don't know what all this is about. Here's the kicker. I know that there is nothing better for them. There is nothing better for us. There's nothing better for me than to rejoice
and do good in one's lifetime. That's it. Bottom line, rejoice and do good in your lifetime. And everything else just sorts itself out. Everything else will find its own time and find its way to process out. So, first part of chapter 3. There is an appointed time for everything. And there is a time for every event under heaven. There's a time to give birth and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to throw stones and a time to gather stones. A time to embrace and a time to shun embracing. A time to search and a time to give up the lost. Hate that one, don't we? And yet there's a time to give up what is lost. A time to keep, a time to throw away, a time to tear apart and a time to sew together. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. Sometimes we're silent when it's time to love, and we speak when it's time to hate. That may not be the right formula. So I got to pondering about this. And at first I listed all the things that were on the side of letting go and destroying, getting rid of. And then I listed all the stuff that was on the process of taking on or receiving or whatever. And then I thought, I wonder if there's an order to all of that. What would come first? Well, birth would come first. Well, would it? Here's the order in which it seemed to flow for me. You might not have the same order, but something to just ponder. So I want you, before I read this list, I want you to ponder things going on in your life right now. Things that maybe in your career you're taking something new on, maybe you're letting something go. Maybe you're shifting careers. In your relationships, maybe you're taking something on, maybe you're letting something go. See where you are in aspects of your life and see how this could apply. If we're going to let go, here's the flow in which I think it might look the easiest for us to give up as loss. Time to stop seeking. Time to turn away. Give it up. Be silent. Like quiet the mind. Be with it. You know, often when we're letting go of something or it's not working for us, we go, this is just miserable. I just hate this. I'm not here. Be silent. Quiet the mind. Get in your heart space. Be in the heart space and just be. That's hard work, people, don't you think? I think that's one of the things, the hardest thing we have to do. Now we get to move into action to take. Uproot. Dig up those unwanted perceptions. Dig up stuff we don't need anymore. Shun embracing. Release. I want it to be this way. I want it to look just like that. And it can't look any other way or I won't be happy. Where's your toy, Phil? We do that. I want it to be this way, and if it's not this way, then... Oh, he went to go get it. Did you find it? Oh, gosh. Watch this. It just shouldn't be this way. I want it to be this way and no other way. And you were probably right in the way of the camera. Phil, for the camera. Do it for the camera.
Because you had your back really
So when you find yourself gripped onto something, remember that visual, okay? That's what we do to ourselves. Shun embracing, release the grip. Hate. This is about reviling the darkness. This is about having distaste for the heavy, dense negativity. Does that make sense? It's not about hating another person. It's not about hating oneself. It's about reviling the darkness, looking at it and going, I'm done with that. Wage war. Have a battle plan. You got a plan? If you're moving from here to there and you don't have a plan, how are you going to get there? How are we going to get there? We'll just keep being here and telling everybody how miserable it is. Have a plan. Tear down. Leave no falsehood standing. Where there's truth, truth has this lovely harmonic that everything just goes, And when we're in our truth, there's no urgency. There's no hostility. It's just neutral. When you are not in our truth, then there's this angst that boils up. So find your truth, because your truth is neutral. I hate my job. Okay, there's that negative energy, that hostility. What is it about the job? Well, I hate that. I can't be creative. Oh, there you go. You're hating the darkness of being stifled. Okay, what's your truth then? The truth is, my soul is ready to be creative. See how neutral that energy is? How it shifted the energy? That negativity keeps us locked down. But being in this neutral truth, now we can see something new and different. Make sense? So leave no falsehood standing. Find the truth. Find the truth about that. Throw stones. That's toss out unusable ideas. Some years ago, I had this huge crisis of faith. Probably not unlike some of you have had. And it was like, okay, here's this basket of things that I held to be true. I threw them all out. And then it was one by one, I picked up a concept. I said, do I still believe that? I can hang on to that. What about this one? No, that was kind of what those people over there think I should believe, but I don't believe that anymore. Out that goes. Throw away what doesn't fit for you anymore. Well, look at it. It takes time to look at that stuff. But without taking the time to throw it out and look at it, then we just still stay confused. If you're feeling confused, it's time to empty the basket. Take a new look. Are you confused? Empty that basket. I'm not saying throwing it away. Empty it and take a new look and reclaim that which serves you. Tear apart. Disassociate. Disconnect. Disconnect from people, places, and things that no longer serve. And sometimes it's important to disconnect from our electronic devices. And sometimes it's important to disconnect from people who are in a negative place. Doesn't mean we don't love them. We can love someone and not be hooked in. If I love someone and they're in a dark place, I can still pour love towards them. If I'm hooked in, then I get their misery. I'm hooking in and they're sucking my energy and they're giving me their misery. So we got to let go of that hook and just let the energy happen. But it's important to disconnect and let them be where they are. I have this thing that I do, be the mountain. And sometimes if somebody's spewing something, they need to vent. I don't need to take it on, and I don't need to fix it. Be the mountain. So you might just see me doing, oh, that's really hard. I'm sorry that you're experiencing that. Doesn't mean I don't believe that or I'm not sympathetic. I have deep compassion. This means I'm standing in a sacred place and I am pouring every ounce of love I can muster through me to you to serve you. Because if I take on your suffering, you don't have any place else to go. If I allow you to have it, you do this process, you let it go. And it's really important to let you be where you are and process your stuff out. But that doesn't mean, Phil's doing the be the kitten sign. Be the kitten. I can't do it like he does. You have to come up and do it. This is our our kitten gang sign. Sometimes it's just be the, the little kitten that gets in the dog bed, the dog's throwing a fit, blah, blah, and then the kitten's just being there. Be the kitten.
You're not going to have that out of your head anytime soon. I'll tell you that. But if whatever it takes to allow you to disconnect so that you can let someone feel what they need to feel, not letting someone feel anything, you try to fix it or mash it down or cover it up. No, express compassion for that. Let them have that. It's important. Without you taking it. Kill. That's destroy utterly. So you found out what the untruth is, and you found out what's not working for you. Now, get rid of that. Sever that tie. You're severing the tie. You disconnected from it. Now obliterate that. And obliterate that means remove it from your conscious awareness. Are you worrying? I don't think that's part of this process. Where does it say worry? Yes, worry, worry, worry. It's important to worry. We must worry. I don't see that anywhere. The next one is die. That doesn't mean we die. That means we change utterly. Death is a transformation. So we change utterly. We're not the same person we were 2 seconds earlier. We're different. We're not the same person, embroiled and stuck in that stuff. We're different. The stuff still may exist, and we still are in the process of extracting ourselves from a situation, but we're changed completely. We're not the same person. Weep. Again, feel the loss. Those emotions are important to experience, and it's really important to allow them to happen and not stifle them, because they will come back up in a different way. Mourn. This is grieving what was, grieving what could have been. Sometimes the loss that we feel and the sorrow we feel and the mourning that we feel is because it wasn't what we wanted it to be. And when we recognize it's never going to be that way, it's important to let that go, to grieve it, and then we can move through it. And once we've released that, once we've moved through that grieving process, then we're ready to take on something new. And sometimes I think we can take on at the same time we're letting go, because I think sometimes they're counterbalanced. So we seek. We take a new look. Again, we're looking at our bushel basket of stuff. Do I believe that anymore? Do I? Oh, okay. Well, I'm seeking new information. I'm seeking truth. Not only am I looking at stuff I've looked at before, or I held in my awareness before, but I'm also seeking new information. I'm reading books. I'm talking to people. Staying tuned, because things can happen. Things can show up that gives us the information, just what we need at just the right time. Speak. Talk about it. That's how you engage other people. Say, well, here I am with this. What'd you do? Get their input on that. Speak about it. Plant. Give it room to grow. When we plant something, we dig a hole, and we open it up, and we put something in, and then we put nourishing soil back on top of it. So make room for something to grow. Again, if we're still hanging on to something, there's no room for the new thing to take root, to be invested. What are you investing your time and energy in? What do you think the most about during the week? That's what you're planting. And that's what's going to grow. That's what's going to expand. Plant the right things and give it room to grow. And we give it room to grow by not going back to the old patterns of being in our head all the time. Embrace. Hang on to the good stuff. We're disconnected from the things that no longer serve. Now hang on to the good stuff. What's the good stuff? You're the only one that knows. I don't know for you what the good stuff is. I know what's good for me. What's good for me is hang out with people who are like-minded. What's good for me is listening to music. What's good for me is silence and quiet and just being. What's good for me is taking the dog for a walk. What's good for you? You're the only one that has that information. But embrace that. Hang on to that. Take it on. Love.
have compassion. Have compassion for yourself and compassion for the situation. This compassion does not require judgment. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be the way we think it should be. It is. We can have compassion for that. Oh, that person might be really, really hurting. I don't have to be with them. I don't have to hook in and let them download their negativity, but I can allow them to be where they are. I can allow my work to be what my work is and do my best, do my part, and know that that's how it is. And I can do that with this loving compassion. Because whatever you do and you do it with love, oh my gosh, it's amplified and blessed and sent back to you. Peace is the next word. Interesting that what came for me with peace is reconciliation. When there's peace, there's reconciliation. You have two countries that are at each other. If there's peace, they have to reconcile something. This is reconciling what is with what could be, with what you want, with how you are, with where you're going. It's like putting it all together and allowing it to mutually exist. Okay, I really want that job over here, but I'm in this job right now. So I can reconcile the fact that I'm not where I want to be because I've got a battle plan. I've got a process I'm working out here. Maybe I'm going back to school. Maybe I'm learning a new skill. Maybe I'm learning a new task. Does that make sense? And that reconciles them and brings them into peace. So rather than going, I don't have that, I can be at peace because I'm on the path. I'm on the way. Build up. Inspire. Oh, don't you love inspiration? What inspires you? We all have that ability to be that quickening. We were talking about it this morning. When you get excited and go, oh wow, that's really, really cool. What does that for you? Do that more. Even if it's not in the same area of which you're having a struggle, do that more because that's going to give you the energy to do the letting go process and to step into the new thing. This also encourages you to inspire others. And just a little something, sometimes just the kindest word, makes a huge difference in someone's life. Makes a huge difference in someone's life. Gather stones. This is like gathering new information. Again, go back to school, take a class, learn something, read something, gather more information, talk to different people. You talk to the same old people, and they have the same old information. What are you going to get? Same old, same old. If you want it different, do it different. Think different. Collect some new ideas. Sew together. This is uniting, merging. So again, it's teamwork. Create for yourself some synergistic relationships where somebody has information you don't have, and you have information they don't have, and then share. How wonderful is that? We think we have to be this isolated little island, we have to do it ourselves. No, merge your ideas with somebody else, unite with somebody. Heal, restore, bring new energy, bring new life into something. Give birth. That's awakening. Wake up. Oh, look, I could do this way. That's waking up. Allow yourself to do that. And the laugh, that's that rejoice. Remember, what did I read it in verse 12? There's nothing better than to rejoice and do good in one's lifetime. That's it. That's the key. Find what makes you joyful and do that. And do more of that. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean I don't have to ever do laundry again. But that means I can hum while I'm folding clothes, or if I'm vacuuming, it could be just a task that we do. We could do that with joy. Oh, when I get this done, it's going to look so nice. That sort of thing. We still have tasks that are unpleasant because that's life. We're not in heaven yet. We're not in the ethereal realms yet. So this is life. Life happens. We have to cook so we can eat. Or we have to make money so we can go buy food. Rejoice. Do it all fun. It's all fun. Dance. That's moving forward joyfully. Take some action. Do. If we just sit. Again, all we do is If we always do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always had. Do it differently. Do something new and do something different. And I would encourage service. There is such a power in service. It's just incredible what a blessing it is for us. So if I don't have enough, I never know how many serve. If I don't have enough, then I'll make more after services. If you pass these back. Yes, dear. Okay, so our neighbor who has the farm and the 14 million barking dogs, they foster dogs. So our kids came over and brought this dog with them, and this sweet little dog, sweet big dog. And she said, "Oh, she's just for you, and Molly needs we have a big dog. Molly needs a buddy." Oh, doesn't need a buddy. Molly was like, "Arr." So it was not working. Molly ran away, and we had to go find her. But they foster doggies. So I said, well, just take her next door and see if they know or if they could do something, because somebody moved and couldn't take this sweet little dog with them. So they're going to take the dog. It's really, really fun. But as a foster. Very sweet dog, very sweet dog. Very sweet. Yeah. We'll get you hooked up. But service is a beautiful thing. And what you do as service could be very different than somebody else does. You know, I really appreciate when I see somebody at the grocery store taking the cart that's been hanging out in the parking lot and putting it in the rack. That's a service. And I think every time somebody does that, I go, good job, thank you for that. Service is a powerful thing. Let's do a guided meditation before we run out of time.